Welcome to the podcast, Benjamin.
Thanks, guys.
Is this your first? Is this your first
on.
podcast, or?
Yeah. Like we had to do one for uni, but this is like the first
real
actual
podcast.
talking about myself. It's my
sick.
first real one.
We are a real podcast, by the way, just in case you were wondering.
Yeah, real
we
podcast.
are a real podcast.
For any ladies and or gentlemen that are watching, Ben's currently been married, so don't hit on him in the comments.
Yeah, he does look.
Actually,
like
we're all married, so don't hit on any of us.
Yeah, he does look like a little bit of a thumb at the moment with his haircut and no beard.
I told him the other day, I really like it. It just needs to be a sharp.
Yeah,
it
but
needs
you
to be
also
a sharp line, not a fade. Yeah. You need full army style.
I think his biggest problem is the little widow's peaks that are creeping up the front.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
By the way,
I mean, you can get away with that. Like, there's plenty of ways to get away with that. But Greg's right. I've got to go the sharp line.
The mustache,
maybe
disguises everything else.
The mow is good. It is a good mow.
Our last conversation, Liam, online, when you said, "Oh yeah, your greys are creeping in."
Yeah.
I shit you not. Since you've said that, I've had some Instagram ads pop up for anti-grey soap.
Oh no!
But I literally haven't said anything about it.
It's
was
the
from
phones.
It's maybe because we're connected to the internet
100%.
Yeah.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
That is how it goes.
How are you guys going today? What happened? Tell me a quick little 2-minute story.
I worked, and then I worked some more, and then I sat in traffic for an hour on the way home. That was my entire day. Benjamin?
What do you do when you sit in traffic? What are you listening to?
I actually was just listening to your podcast with Samuel Saxby.
Oh yeah. Did you hear my little mention of you at the beginning?
Yeah, I did.
I'm like, a really good coach puts themselves in someone else.
Yeah, I was that is the incorrect terminology. You're gonna have to.
I ended with you're a good dude.
One sec, I'll be back. Continue.
What'd you get up to, Ben?
Not much. Went for a run this morning. Took the dog for a run, and then I had a pretty huge uni presentation to do. So, which we can get into because you're going to ask me about who I am and stuff. But basically, as part of teaching, you have who am I? No, as part of being a teacher and to become a teacher within Australia, you have to complete one of two major pieces of assessment at the end of your degree. Yeah. And that piece of assessment also comes attached with a roughly 15-minute interview / presentation. And
online though?
No, I had to go in. I had to go into university in person, and basically be fully professionally dressed and have a full conversation with 3 PhDs about who I am as a teacher and a bunch of stuff to do with my last placement. So pretty big.
Basically, just do you or have you ever touched kids?
No, they've already asked me that. They ask you that every year.
Good. They ask you that day one of uni, right? You got to get your blue card.
Bro, before uni, it's have you ever been charged with any offences and stuff? The first because when you're applying to be a teacher, they have a full questionnaire for it. So
yeah,
it's have you ever been charged with a federal offence or whatever? Oh, Emmy.
And have you?
Hey, Emmy.
Yeah, we were supposed to do this podcast at 2:00, and now I need to look after my child at 4:00.
That's fine. Apologies.
Do you think it went well, Ben?
Stuck in a roof.
Do you think it went well?
Man, it's so hard to say. It's so hard to say because they're not allowed to provide any written feedback, any verbal feedback. It's so weird. It's that whole, I always like to call it the backup politicians. If you ever watch the news and you'll see
politicians
make statements and they've all got people in the background going,
yes.
Yeah, getting right into it and lapping it up. And that's what it's like. It's they're fucking lapping it up. I shouldn't swear, but they're lapping it up.
Yes, they're saying all the talking points that we talked about, all the talking points.
Yeah, but you have no idea whether that means that you're doing well or if you're bricking it. So
yeah,
I believe in you.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks, mate.
Well, I worked at
Cheers.
Ducks Brew at Toowong from 6 a.m. till 10 o'clock, and that was my morning.
And then babysitting for the rest of the day.
Yep, it's not babysitting when it's your own child.
Oh, everyone's babysitting.
I said that once to someone else. I'm like, "Oh, I got to babysit," and they're like, "It's your kid." I'm
Yeah,
like,
you're not babysitting.
You're right. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. So, was that we just talked about Greg Benjamin's job, but what are your your current goals? Not just in CrossFit, but also CrossFit in general life. What's on the horizon for you?
Well, like I said, I'm just about to finish a teaching degree, so gonna be teaching out at St. Peter's Lutheran College in the Springfield campus as of next year, which is
That's a cool job to get. Hey, straight out of uni.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of a weird situation at the moment, but I think definitely the way I've done it and the way I've gone about it this year has definitely helped me. But then, yeah, that's basically my only, sounds bad, but that's my only, like, real outside of CrossFit goal at the moment. It's just trying to get through that. Obviously, everyone always has other financial goals and life goals and stuff, but they're not really super important. They're just, like, making sure that you don't starve at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What are you planning on teaching?
I'll be a biology health and physical education teacher, and a biology teacher is like my second science teacher as a secondary.
Because you can't be a PE teacher without teaching a science or something else as well, right?
Well, you can, but like it's good to have a backup area, because like it used to be that like no one taught all PE or no one taught all science, and I think also it's now gotten to a stage where there's just not enough teachers in any area. So like,
so everyone's got to multitask.
To teach two areas.
Yeah.
So you're going to be a biology teacher.
Biology, and well, like I can teach physics up to year 11, chemistry up to year 11. I try to.
So you would be the only one qualified to answer
rocks.
this question, Ben. You're the only one qualified to answer this question. How many genders are there?
Oh, I'm not getting into that. That's a sticky situation at this stage of my life. No, well, like, okay, like it's.
We don't have to answer this question.
Gender
Let's
is
not
not
talk about this.
Yeah, this is no.
Oh, okay.
Greg's got Greg's like, our show is uncancelable.
yeah. He can be uncancelable. He's got his own business.
Get cancelled. You can't get cancelled for saying how you feel.
You definitely can. People get cancelled for saying how they feel all the time.
Well, I think society's turning around a little bit and people are waking up.
I think definitely cancel culture has taken a little bit of a twist.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry for making that awkward for you, Ben. So next year,
it's not awkward. Next year.
So what?
Yeah, next year. So that'll be it.
Do you reckon you'll be better at doing CrossFit working full time, or better at CrossFit being a student? Like time wise, do you reckon you'll have more time or less time, or you have more consistency?
I've kind of been working full time this whole time.
You've been working
about
and
the
studying.
other day, I've been working and studying. Basically, I'm a mature age student, which means I'm above the age of 21. It appears, but I'm 30, so for me, I've had to pay rent and pay bills and get married and do all this other stuff that's associated with being an adult, while also trying to essentially retrain in something that's not just pouring drinks and
which is what you were doing before, right? You were a bartender before, right?
Yeah, I was a bartender, and I'm actually fully qualified sommelier, so I can tell you all about wine. Which is probably like why science is such like a good link in, because like you've got to understand the chemical and the biological processes that go into making wine.
Yeah.
Do you like wine?
He obviously likes wine, Greg.
Do you like wine, Liam?
No, I hate wine. Can't
No.
stand wine.
Not
That's a
fan.
lie.
never had
That's
a
a
glass of
lie.
wine
I
and been
know
like,
you
"Oh,
like
yeah,
port.
no." Okay. To be fair, I have had port and that was tasty, but wine, real wine.
And I do remember you. I do remember visibly seeing you drink
At your
wine.
wedding, I did have a glass of red because it was compulsory.
Yeah, because everyone else was on the reds, which, by the way, was
Yeah.
fucking out of whack. Because the red was the one we ordered the least of, and was the only one that we sold. It was the only
Of
one
course.
that everyone drank.
That and the ginger beers.
It's ridiculous.
Just chase the red with a rum and coke.
That and the ginger beers. That was
Yeah.
So you guys have both you're both
Yeah.
married now. It's like 4 or 5 years for you, Liam.
4, yep, 4
Or
years.
maybe not
now.
that many.
Yeah,
Maybe
4.
2 or 3.
4.
And 1 year for you, Ben.
Yep.
Or coming up to 1 year, maybe.
April.
Well,
so
just wanted to let
so
you
it was
guys
6
know
months
that
the other week.
it's our 10-year anniversary in a month's time. So we've been married for 10 years. So if you have any marriage advice that you need or any questions, do not come to me with any answers, because I cannot give you a goddamn thing. 10 years of confusion. And
Does that
am I
mean you
doing it?
started the gym basically like 6
Yep.
months after you and Anne got married?
We got married in November, and then I opened the gym in April.
Yeah, shit. Far out.
Yep.
What a time in your life,
Fuck.
hey? That would have been
Yeah.
hectic.
Oh, no, it was good. It was easy. Like, what needs to change? I mean, baby's different, dog's
Yeah.
different, but, married, it's almost like it's easier now. So just same bank account. Let's do this.
Yeah, everything
Yeah,
just
cool.
comes out of one area.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good. So you just got married, as we just said. How did you meet Sarah, your lovely wife?
So
I don't
this
think
is
Greg
actually
knows the
funny
story.
because
I don't.
no, this is a good story actually, because I was managing a bar or a pub up in Paddington called Hope and Anchor. So some people from Ducks will know where that is. It's up on Given Terrace. And I was running the bar, pretty keen to get out of there at that point anyway. The ownership had just changed, and on a Tuesday night, and the only reason I remember it was a Tuesday night is because on Tuesday nights we did like this gigantic schnitzel for like $20. And Sarah had come in and she just finished her last ever master's exam, and yes, that means she's more educated than I am. So
She
God
was
knows
a
why she
regular
with
at
me.
this stage too, right?
No.
First time
So
in.
she'd come in like once or twice.
Mhm.
And then she came through, sat out the back. It was on like June or July, maybe. Anyway, we had a fireplace out the side, and she sat out there. And anyway, she'd come up to the bar a couple of times, and I hadn't really noticed her up until that point. But then because we had a busy night, and then towards the end of the night, her ex-boyfriend had shown up, and basically
Drama.
they'd had
This
a
is getting good
conversation.
now.
Yeah, they'd had a conversation, and he basically ran out crying. And I was out like clearing a table at the time. And I went inside to like my coworker and was like, "Bro, I think I just saw like a massive breakup chat." And he was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Yeah, that guy was running out crying." I was like, "Oh, fucking poor dude."
And Ben goes into swoop.
And then, oh no, I didn't actually. Like, I went and I was like, "Fuck it, whatever." I've got to keep closing because it was about 9:30 at this stage on a Tuesday. And I'd gone downstairs to grab something and then come back upstairs, and I'd asked this guy at the time who was pretty new. I was like, "Just make sure you stay inside and clean the bar." And he wasn't there. I was like, "What the fuck is this guy?" And he comes back in and goes, "Mate, you'll thank me later." Came back in. Sarah came, sat at the bar, had a chat. I think the first thing that impressed her was the fact that I could pronounce her last name,
Which is
Beitel. Beitel, Beitel. So it's German. She's born in Germany. Came over here when she was 7 or 8.
Mhm.
Can't remember. And yeah, so that was kind of the whole thing. Got chatting. She came back maybe a couple of nights later, kept talking. Turned out she was in hospitality at the time. So there was kind of that degree of connection there, and she was finishing off her masters and just talked for ages. And then we were mates for probably about a month and a half, and then I was pretty much about to leave, and then I was leaving the bar, and long story short, basically, we went on a date, and rest is history, pretty much.
And the next day you got
moved
married?
in together after 6 months, and then well, no, we've been together since 2018. 2018? 2017? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, you're the date guy in the relationship,
So, yeah.
right? You're supposed to know these things.
Yeah, well, I can. Right, so our first date was on June 1st.
Where did you go, Ben?
First date was on June 1st.
I can't see you, Ben.
We went to. I can't see. Well, I can barely see you, Greg.
Live video will
we went
return when
to-
the internet improves.
Oh, it could be
I can
fucking
see.
forever.
No, I can see.
We went to Little Valley, which is now no longer a restaurant there. It was the place I was going to be going to work. And I wanted to try it out before I started working there because I'd kind of got poached to go there at the time as the head waiter. And I was kind of keen to sort of go there and see how it was. And then we went there, and Sarah knew, like, the guy who was managing it at the time was also a mutual friend of ours, and there was another mutual friend working there, so we were just going to go hang out. And realistically, it was just us going for dinner. And then, yeah. So,
Very nice. It is a nice story that, like,
keeping it
you
semi-G
guys
rated.
kind of like ran into each other. You don't see that very often anymore. You kind of ask people, "Oh yeah, how'd you meet?" Like, "Oh, we met on Bumble." Like, you didn't like, "Oh, we met at a pub."
Yeah.
Like,
It was-
that never happens anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've known Danielle your whole life.
Yeah, I've
so
known Danielle forever.
That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah,
I
it
went
is
to
cool.
school with Anne, and
Mhm.
we bumped into each other again at the bar, and then we kind of hit it off that way. But yeah, I'm too old. Like I was never around with the whole online dating thing when I was hooking up. So
Yeah,
I'm glad I missed that little piece.
Yeah, 100%. But these days is definitely like
Oh, bro.
anytime I'm out
It's pretty
meeting
common.
another couple, they're just like, "Oh yeah, we met on Tinder or whatever."
Yeah.
I'm like,
And not
"Far out."
even young people, like old people are doing
Yeah.
that as well now.
Yeah, 100%. That's just the way it's done. Face-to-face interactions are scary.
Well, it also cuts
During
out
all
all
of-
of like that sort of small talk.
During all of this, were you doing CrossFit at the time, or were you doing some sort
Yep.
of other training? Yep.
Yeah, so I started CrossFit in 2015, very conveniently actually at Gym Cartel. And then Sarah at the time was training at Molly Fit, which is also now no longer there.
Or was that CrossFit
but
Milton at
sort
the
of-
time?
Yeah, it was a CrossFit Milton, but it was like Molly Fit was like kind of the overarching banner because it was CrossFit Milton and Milton Weightlifting Club. But
Mhm.
Molly Fit was the
The
facility that they
combined
called
name.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Where does the word
The
Molly come
combined
from?
name.
Milton Ollie
Milton Ollie.
CrossFit. It's a combination of Milton Olympic Lifting and CrossFit Molly Fit.
I get
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah, I never got it either. I was like, "Oh, so is your mum's name Molly?" And she's like, "No, Molly's not my mum's name."
Oh, by the
But
way,
yeah, so-
the person that Liam's referring to is Katie Redhead.
Yeah, Katie Redhead.
It's Kate.
Her parents own.
Yes, I met her.
Yeah. Well, not
Yeah.
Katie.
She's a nice lady.
Redhead anymore. Katie Eichmann, right?
Katie
Or did she
Eichmann,
keep
yeah.
Redhead.
No,
And
she
so
went to
you
Eichmann.
started in 2014-15. You started CrossFit. What
Yep.
brought you to the scene? Like, what made you think, you know what, I want to try this thing?
So, two ways. First way, I at the time was playing rugby, and I'd sort of like had like about 3 years of basically season-ending injuries. So, first year was I'd already had my right shoulder redone. First year was my left shoulder. Second year was my hand. Third year was my foot. When I broke my foot, I was pretty much like, oh, no, this is fucking it for me for rugby.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then
That's a
I
good decision,
basically
think,
was
as an
like,
adult.
yeah. And then I went to a mate of mine owned a sup supplement store because 2014, 15, we were all going to the sup stores because nothing was done online yet. And he was training at Gym Cartel, and he was like, "Hey man, like they don't just do CrossFit, but come along, see what you think." I had a little look, and I was like, you know what, yeah, fair. And then I went on a bit of a holiday and did like the deep dive of YouTube on CrossFit, and
of course, this is how we all started CrossFit back in the day.
Yeah. So, except for Greg, because Greg's been around since before it was on YouTube.
That's it.
What's YouTube?
And
what's
then,
YouTube?
Yeah, what's YouTube? And then I saw like the games, and I think it was actually, I'm going to say it was that workout in 2014 where it was like rope climbs, GHDs, and overhead lunges in the games where it was
where
the
Rich
rope
just
climb, the
overhead
GHD.
overhead lunged away from everyone.
Yeah. And I was like, man,
Handstand
that looks
walks
pretty
as well,
fucking easy. I reckon I can do that. I couldn't. Yeah, I could not fucking do that. And then so I I went on holiday, came back, and was like, oh, I should really fucking sign up for a gym, and went down to Cartel, and Simon was still running it back then, and I picked up on it pretty quickly. Because obviously I'd been in and around gyms pretty much since because of rugby, and because my parents were pretty big on me making sure I didn't get injured. So despite me breaking bones, like I'd never had a bunch of muscular injuries
because you
aside from my two shoulders.
Well.
Yeah. So like they put me into gyms, and I was able to pretty much walk into CrossFit power cleaning 100 kilos. So at the time, if you think about that, that's a big deal. But yeah, when I started CrossFit, I went from 98 kilos to 77.
Yeah, you lost a lot of weight, right? Because were you struggling with some weight issues before you started?
No, but like, okay, so backtrack even further. I lived overseas straight out of school. And for those of you who haven't been to the UK is really easy to drink, really easy to eat a bunch of fried food, and and like the culture is like pretty much go out every day after work, drink about 3 or 4 pints, eat shit
fried
food.
Fish.
Like there's no fried fish, fried pizza, they fry everything.
Yeah.
And while I was over there, I got up to 110 because also exercise was not like a big deal. Came back, got back into rugby, got down to sort of 98, and then because I was playing sort of front row at that time, and then joined CrossFit and lost a bunch more weight. And
you said what was your bottom weight that you hit? Was 70 something?
70. Well, I actually got down to 74 at a couple of
that's crazy.
Do you remember your legs are so strong?
Yeah. Do you remember what your first ever CrossFit workout was?
The 7.
The 7?
What?
7.
And you obviously
first CrossFit.
Your first CrossFit workout is a hero workout.
No, like my first actual CrossFit workout. So like I'd done a couple of workouts here and there. But like my actual first CrossFit workout in a class, stuff like that, I think was the 7. That's the first one I remember.
For people who don't know what the 7 is the 7 is 7 rounds for time of 7 handstand push-ups, 7 thrusters, 7 knees to elbows, 7 deadlifts, 7 burpees, 7 kettlebell swings, and 7 pull-ups. That thing, if that was the first workout I did at a CrossFit facility, I would have died and never come back.
So it was I think I did. I didn't do full weight on the thrusters, or the deadlift. And then I didn't do full kettlebell swings. I only did Russian kettlebell swings, and I did ring rows.
That's awesome.
I still
because the thing is, did you come into that session being like, I am going to crush CrossFit. CrossFit is going to be my bitch. I'm going to be Rich Froning in at least in maximum.
Well, I'd already done a
time.
couple of sessions before, yeah, pretty much.
So I remember the first time I went into a CrossFit gym. It was a similar thing. I rocked up. I was like, I'm going to murder this shit. And this lady was like, okay, you're doing I went into the beginner's class. Like they had like an intro class. And
Yep.
I walked in and she was like, okay, you're going to do 5 rounds of 10 sit-ups, 5 strict pull-ups, and 15 air squats. And
Yep.
I threw up. And I was like,
Is this at
no.
4051?
Yeah, 4051.
Maybe?
Yeah, 4051. I did this workout and I remember it clear
at the
as
old
day.
place, at the old
Coach
in
Kate,
the old
yeah,
sand pits.
Yeah, in
Kate
the sand
Sooner?
pits. Yeah, with the volleyball nets and everything, and really, yeah, just an unreal experience. And I thought probably you would have had a similar experience, just being absolutely humbled by what CrossFit is, and just immediately being addicted for life. You know.
I was going through some photos,
Yeah, well-
and it's really funny to see them older photos where like no one's got nanos on and no one's got the same kind of shorts on, and people are wearing like stringlets,
Yeah.
and like the bars have been like fabricated bars that you've just got Joe Blow to come and do. They're not like rogue bars, and the medicine balls are just taped up, and the plates are all different colors. And
Yeah.
I don't like miss them days, but I really do like love thinking about them
The
days. 'cause
grunginess
they're-
of it all.
Yeah, and it was just like you go in and it's like you just stood around, you learn how to do the dumbbell snatch, and then you do the dumbbell snatch workout, and then you stretch, and it's just like you're flogged afterwards.
100%.
Now,
Yeah.
like I guess we can all agree that when you like cycle to work for the first time when you're younger, and I remember when I lost my license when I was in, I don't know, like 18 or 19, and I had to cycle to work, and I couldn't even cycle the whole way. I had to get off and walk up the hill and then keep cycling. And then the next day you almost make it to the top, and the day after that you make it through up the hill and you don't have to get off the bike. And then within 3 months you're like sprinting there, and it's not even an effort anymore.
Mm.
And it's
Yeah.
kind of like with CrossFit, it's easy to kind of like just back away a little bit and be like, I'm just going to do heaps of work now and not put in that intensity. But them simple workouts back in the day, they will still destroy anyone.
100%.
Like, absolutely anyone.
There's a reason why Fran is so well renowned, right?
Fran
yeah,
is
I mean, like,
something
there's-
that
it's
we
not
should
just
probably do
Fran.
soon.
What was that, Ben?
Yeah. Well, I think yeah, absolutely. Like Fran's a good one. Like I still look at like Lynn is a really good one. Lynn scares the fuck out of me.
Well, 5 rounds, max pull-ups, max bodyweight bench.
Max. Yeah, that shit is horrendous because there is, and if you do it as it's written, where there's no rest.
No,
But,
there
like,
should be rest.
Yeah, there should be rest, but if you just did it as it's written without the action, like you should be aiming for 3 minutes rest between rounds in technicality.
Yeah,
but, like,
I've
if you just
done-
did it,
I've done Lynn when I was a coach at CrossFit Rocks with the owner at the time, and it took us probably 90 minutes. We rested
Yeah,
like
just rested
seven-
heaps.
7 to 10 minutes,
Uh-huh.
and it's just like we just, we
That's such a good way to give yourself
Died.
rhabdo for the rest of your life, basically.
yeah.
that's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, man,
Yeah.
that
No, it should be
feel,
3
oof.
minutes. 3 minutes is a perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we've looked back 5 years at what you did.
What's the other one?
then.
It's like the max pull-ups and 20 meter rod. Anyway,
What?
There's one called Nicole where it's a 20-minute AMRAP where you do a 400-meter run, max pull-ups.
Yeah, max pull-ups and then a 400 meter run.
Oh, I don't even know that
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the
That's
one I got
horrible.
rhabdo on, and then I had to
That's
do
horrible.
the ducks. The what do you call it? The tough mudder.
Oh
Like,
no.
2 or 3 days afterwards,
Oh.
and I'm literally running with my arms in
Oh.
a crab stance. And like I knew it was rhabdo or a mild form of rhabdo, but I'm not gonna like go to a doctor or anything. But just keeping an eye on my urine color, and
Yeah.
we're all,
No,
we're
that's
all fine,
crazy.
We're all good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you a
Um,
story about rhabdo later.
Just to
Just to
Can you see
really
this?
get some people out of it.
I see
Fir-
something coming. Yes, I can see this.
first time I
Yep.
did Lynn
Oh, yep.
was in 2011.
Yeah,
10 pull-ups, 13 pull-ups, 13.
dude,
80
that'd be so
kilos.
different now.
Yep.
That's crazy. That would have been
And
probably
then-
strict pull-ups, right, Greg?
Yeah, that was at Fitness First.
Yeah.
did it again that year. I liked bench press back then.
Loved bench press.
But look at this one. 51 pull-ups, 35 pull-ups, 36, 32, 34.
That would have
And then
probably
we-
been the one, right, where you rested 10 minutes between each
I
set
think
in
so.
2013.
This might have been the one that I did with you, remember? Like
Yeah.
you were coaching at nighttime.
I
so
do
did
remember.
50, 36, 30, 29. But piss poor bench press. Come on.
Yeah, but that
you've
was
gone from
probably when you were at
77.5
your...
kilos to 91.
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at that. Body weight, 77.5 kilos.
Yeah.
That's a 15%
so that
increase
was
in
when
body
you were
weight.
at your heaviest, right? That's when you were training for that to try and snatch 100 was probably around then.
Oh, yeah, that would be definitely correct. And
Yeah, so
bench press was not
it's easily the heaviest you've ever been.
easily.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive that you could still do that kind of volume in pull-ups with all that extra body weight.
Ben, how'd you go with that workout on Monday?
Yeah, Monday's workout. Do you want to talk us through the Monday's
good.
workout, Ben?
Yeah, okay. So it was 6, 9, 12, 9, 6 of burpees, front squats, and chest to bars. So lateral burpees over the bar, front squats at 83 kilos, and then chest to bar pull-ups. I went 6:55,
which is an incredibly fast time. Just for everyone to realize, the fastest time logged on Be on the Whiteboard currently is 7 minutes 14.
That was this year.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is why we picked this workout as well, is because there's a lot of data on it, so you can kind of see where you place with these movements in comparison to the hundreds of thousands of people that have logged this workout.
So the 99th percentile
well.
is around that 8 minute 16 mark. So that's where I thought people would go, like around 8 minutes, like especially you and some others. But to do sub 7, that was
is fast. Yeah,
that's pretty gnarly.
Pretty
reckon
awesome.
I mean,
room
like it's
for
a very
improvement?
good. I was having a think about that because when this, like, I was having a think about it, and I sort of had a chat to Mitch, and after you were like, because straight after the workout, you were like, "Oh, I reckon you can go quicker." I said, "Fucking where?" But I think for me, it'd have to be like a situational thing now. So it's like, because I like to look at it from a perspective of where am I moving? So like, I've got 3 transitions per round. So I've got the transition between the burpee and the bar and the pull-up bar, and then back to the burpee. So like that's essentially 4 transitions. I've got position towards where I am in the room. So like for me, I was
Not having to
5
fight the
meters
bar
back
with
from
me.
the pull-up bar that I use.
Yeah,
I didn't care about that. That's why I pushed the first round. So like for everyone, so my actual plan for it was go as hard as I could in the first 6 burpees and front squats, because there was 4 of us using that pull-up bar, and I
you
wanted to be
get
the
there
first on the
first.
pull-up bar. Yeah, and that was my only plan. And I was like, fucking, what happens after this? I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably have to wear a belt because I'll probably have to go unbroken on the front squats, and I'll probably have to jump the burpees. So I kind of learnt this technique because for those of us playing at home who joined Ducks this year, we did Mayhem Athlete last year, and Mayhem Athlete had this technique on the lateral burpees where it was similar to a worm, where you would kind of do a bit like a surfer stand up. So you'd stand up with your inside leg to the bar first, doing like a lunge, and then you step up with your foot and then jump over the bar, rather than just doing a traditional burpee, jump up, jump over.
Yeah.
So I think in order for me to go quicker on that workout, I'm going to have to jump up, be close to the bar, be close to my pull-up bar, and go unbroken on the front squats. And I
That
don't.
seems like
Did you
that's
break the front squats?
Yep.
No, he went unbroken.
No, I broke.
You broke?
Oh, did you
I
break the
definitely
12?
broke.
You broke the 12?
Yeah, I broke the 12, and I broke the 12. I broke. I went 9 and 3.
Interesting.
On the front
so
squats.
You got that time. So you made up your time on the burpees and the chest to bars rather than on the front squats.
Yeah, so like for me, the burpees and the chest to bars were not, like the chest to bars particularly were a non-event. They were not.
Yeah.
They were not the part of the workout that I was concerned about.
It was just
The
breathing,
burpees,
basically.
I was just like, I was like, it's like done. I've done.
But there
like,
are
my
a fair few
all-time- like, this is
transitions here
some-
as well, and there's
Yeah.
so much like room for being deliberate with like, all right, I could put my hand straight up on the bar straight away, or I can like take a little bit of chalk and like.
That was my thing. That was So I didn't chalk at all. I had my hands straight on the bar as soon as I jumped off the burpees. So I put my hands straight on the front squat straight away, and I think like that probably slowed me down on that's why I had to probably break on the 12, because I was starting to get a little bit like, may have gone too hard here situation. But then, I mean, like, I was still pretty happy. Like, I didn't realize that I'd gone that quick until the very end, and I'd gone, oh shit.
What
Here we go.
in this workout? What did you feel was the the linchpin of the workout? Not just for you, but just in general. Like, if someone was to ask you, which part of this workout is the hardest, and how should I attack it? What would you say for next time?
Definitely front squats.
Yeah, what would you do?
How about not put it down?
I'd probably just don't put it down, man. Like, that's basically it. Like, it's okay. This is gonna like I do try to take something from every person's programming that I've ever done has had a different opinion on something, and I try to take something positive from everyone. But the first ever external programming that I ever did, and it was as a gym, we did comp train. And it was back when Ben Bergeron still had all his screws in properly. And his whole thing was, you can drop from a gymnastics movement, and it'll take you 2 seconds to get back up. You can drop a barbell, and it'll take you up to 10 seconds.
Yes.
So, like, if you're a general gym member and you're looking to improve your score in any workout, the first thing to do is improve your strength. Because if you have to drop that barbell on a front squat, if I didn't know that I was going as quick as I was going, I could have quite happily stepped away from the bar on that set of 12. And the only reason I wanted to get back to the bar was because I was starting to catch Greg, because Greg's hip started to give out.
The hip that we don't talk about.
Yeah, we don't talk about the hip. It's an imaginary thing. Cool.
It was the only reason
pretty
I was
cool
starting
workout.
I was like, this could have been great workout.
Yeah, even if I was feeling good,
if I could go sub 6:45.
Even if I was feeling good, you would have wiped the floor with me, because my squat cycle speed, even if I did do it unbroken, man,
slower.
I'm going down like 4 meters at least. Coming up is like every rep is so long, and there's like, and chest bars being my kind of like my favorable movement. There's not enough reps.
Yeah,
there
you would have liked more
catch
reps
up
there
at all. And my burpees were so slow.
Yeah, cool.
But cool
I'm
workout.
not bad.
And I like
at
it, because
either,
I honestly think there is still room for you to improve. Just even having done it
I think I could definitely
recently, like, even if you like bust your ass in Fran, you're like, all right, I know I was a bit of a bitch at this moment in the 15 where I just like took that extra breath.
Yeah.
With this workout, when you're doing it in 7 minutes, like 7 minutes is a pretty long time. Fran is like under 3 minutes or under 2 minutes for some people. For 6 or 7 minutes, you've got wiggle room there. And honestly, like, you could shave 30 seconds off if you decided to hurt a little bit more.
Well,
and I only bring this up because you came first in the whole gym, but that doesn't mean that that's it. Like, all good, done. Like, there's still room for you to improve. So 100%. I want you to know that it's not like, because it's a good workout for you, that you don't need to try and go harder again. That being said, you can just do it with 120
I definitely want to go sub
instead.
6:45. Like, if I could do 6:45, like shaving 10 seconds off that,
I'd be pretty impressed.
Like, considering the transitions and considering all of the movements in there, it's a pretty big.
I think for the majority of the people in the gym as well, they're just going to be like, hey, I'm just going to try and like do it RX again. And maybe like I'll try and do bigger sets on the chest bars or something. But with you, it could be like a really good mindset to help with your competition setting as well, to be like, I know how much it's going to hurt now. And I'm going to like fire up, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going in mentally prepared to try and shave or hurt just to shave 1 or 2 seconds off. and don't just get complacent being like, oh, I've already done this workout, so I don't need to test myself again.
Yeah. No, definitely. Because the goal is to go quicker, right? Like that's the whole point of us retesting workouts. And I do want to get quicker. It's not that. It's like more about I've got to be like really purposeful on where I can shave the seconds off rather than, again, like someone else who maybe didn't go.
Where it's easy, where you're just like, hey, I'll just do the pull-ups unbroken and it'll be faster. Where for you, it's like, oh, there's only really one spot where I can hold on a bit better than I did. And otherwise it's all in your execution of how fast you move and time between movements. So
and you weren't that far away from the pull-up bar as well, so it'll be it all comes down to that execution.
It's an execution workout rather than a timing thing, so that's good.
So what type of workouts do you actually prefer to do? Like, what's one of your favorite workouts?
Man, I love intervals. I love power output intervals. I think they're like absolutely my favorite. But also at the same time, you could not be
so far away from what I was going to say. So do you have one in particular that you can like bring up? Liam, what's one of your favorite movements, workouts?
Yeah,
my favorite. I know what your favorite workout is, Ben. Come on. It's Amanda.
Oh, yeah, but like I like Amanda because I know I'm good at Amanda, but it's not my favorite workout. If I'm really honest about it, I worked at not having a favorite workout because for a long time, the whole premise about doing a workout to me has been about, well, where am I getting better here? And I think if I have this is my own thought process with it. If I have a favorite workout, it means that I'm like I'm gonna either A, sell my soul on it, or B, I'm looking at it going, maybe I should stop doing those movements for a while.
Ben, you're acting like a politician. Tell me what your fucking favorite workout is.
It's Amanda. It's 100% Amanda. If I could
there are only two genders.
If I could ask you to pick a workout that you know you're going to win and you're going to enjoy doing it, you're going to pick Amanda.
No. I know.
Do you have to be good at your favorite workout? Do you have to be really good at it?
No, but
like, can you be a favorite workout?
No.
And you're not good at it?
It definitely helps though. Okay. My favorite all-time workout is actually another Ben Bergeron workout. It's 3 rounds for time, 10 front squats at 83 kilos, 20 chest to bars, 80 dubs.
That sounds fucking horrendous. That sounds so bad.
It is so fun. It is the last time I really badly tore my hand because I just
big sets on the chest
above it.
Yeah, that's cool.
What's your favorite workout, Liam?
DT, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. DT or one that I've never actually I don't think we've done it in a class. I've done it just by myself because I wanted to do it, was that regionals snatch pyramid that they did. It was like a 10 at 60 kilos and it finished at like 2 reps at 120 or something. And I did that with the ladies' weights back like 5-6 years ago, and it was probably one of my favorite workouts.
Yeah, right. Mine
What's yours, Greg?
Was Nasty Girls.
Of course, Nasty Girls.
And we're going back to that, because you're good at it. And then I've had a little, and then I've kind of, last time I did Nasty Girls, it hurt so much because I was good at it and I can do this unbroken and I have to push faster than the squats. And now I end up like my favorite thing to do, and like you guys can probably attest to this as well. It's just like snatching, and I fucking suck at snatches. But I dream about snatches. When I hurt my shoulder like 5 or 6 years ago, all I was dreaming about was snatches. And when I'm fine, I'm going to do snatches again. And I suck at snatches then, and I suck at snatches now. But I love snatching so much.
That's because snatching is objectively the best movement.
Muscle ups and snatches.
Amanda, as I said. Objectively,
Well,
the best
maybe
workout of all
Amanda is
time.
my favorite workout. Like, and I'm not good at it by any means, but like,
Yeah.
I just love doing that. When you love doing the workouts that you're really good at, it ends up hurting more. Like when you do DT,
Oh,
you
dude, it's
probably
the mo-
fucking sell your soul, and it's the most painful thing ever.
It sucks. It hurts every time, and I'm every time scared of doing it. But DT is one of my favorite workouts because I'm good at it, and just because of that feeling afterwards, being like, I could not have done any better than I did.
Well, I'm surprised that you told me to avoid doing the DT thing the other day, because I'm like, how about this workout? 150 wall ball shots for time, and every time you break, you've got to do a round of DT.
A
And
round of
Liam's like-
dumbbell DT.
Yeah, okay. Maybe even a barbell DT. That'd be pretty sick as well.
Dude, that would be so
No, it's
horrendous.
so horrible.
But like for the
That'd be
advanced guys, you're
horrible.
dropping the ball maybe, like it'll force you to maybe
Try and
well,
do
fuck.
3 sets. But
Yeah.
like, fuck, bro. Can you
Yeah.
imagine
After you do
going
DT,
back to wall balls after you've done a round of DT? Dude, that
Shoulders
would
and-
ruin you. It would ruin
Yeah.
your life. I actually found a workout the other day. I think it was Travis Mayer that did it. It was Karen, but every time you drop the ball, your next 10 reps, you had to do 2 reps for 1 rep to count.
Yeah, but that guy does fucking heavy Karen unbroken
Yeah, so he did it heavy. So he did it with
at 12 foot.
he did a 30.
So was he doing a 2-for-1 wall ball or just like 2 wall ball
No,
shots?
2 wall balls is equal to 1 wall
Oh.
ball. So every time you drop, it is your next 10 reps. You have to do 20 to get to back to normal counting.
No.
Yeah, fucked. Hey,
Yeah, this is never an invite to ever do that. You do that,
No,
and I'm actually cancelling my membership straight.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we've only got 6 wall ball targets. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry guys, but I think it would be good. Good reason to try and go unbroken. I actually think Karen is such a cool workout because you get to see what people are made of. Because you can always do one more wall ball.
Yeah.
I genuinely
Um,
think more people have an unbroken Karen in them than have done it. Like we've currently at our gym have one person who has done Karen unbroken.
Well, Courtney did it as well.
Yeah, okay, 2 people. Courtney Haley and Harry Jones are the only 2 that have done Karen unbroken. And I genuinely think everyone else who's not doing it unbroken, it's not everyone, but a majority, it's a mental thing. Me included. I'm
Yeah.
bad
I
at
think I
that.
could do it if like someone had a gun to my head
Yeah.
and they're like, I will kill your whole family
Yeah, exactly.
if you don't go unbroken. I reckon I
And
could go unbroken.
I just think some people are better at getting into that little zone of, oh, there is a gun to my head without there actually being a gun to your head, you know? And I think Karen's a good way to
Yeah.
see that unfold.
Hmm.
Anyway,
I think we should program Karen. I've been wanting to.
after that
Throw that in
workout
there
that
again.
we did yesterday, Ben, I do not believe that you're not sore.
I'm fine.
You
Piss
are not,
test. Piss test.
bro. I am
No, I'm fine.
paraplegic.
How many
Fine,
was
but
it? It was
also
30
you-
times 5, so 150.
Yeah, but he also did.
Yeah,
he
it's fine.
did 75 box jump overs as well.
Hmm. Maybe the jumping gets rid of the lactic acid.
Yeah, maybe, but my legs are broken.
He was
Yeah, but also you
120
just
kilos at
had-
one stage, so he's got
Yeah,
a lot of dense
right?
muscle fibers.
That's it.
Hmm.
I'm
That's
also
why your
a
calf
baby.
muscles
Yeah,
look
but
so
also-
good. Big dudes
Yeah, it's
that
true.
shrink, like lose a lot of weight, man, their calves just stay
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
I reckon Hayden was probably a really fat dude at one stage.
Dude, Hayden has
His
the
calf
world's
muscles are
biggest
out of
calves.
control.
He says they're useless
Yeah.
though because he says they just cramp up all the time.
I don't care. I would
Yeah,
have
can
calves like that.
confirm
And I don't
I
even
don't
care if
cramp.
they're useless.
Mm.
Do you guys have any
Yeah.
like favorable ever workouts that you've ever done that maybe it was you didn't even like it, but it's just something that's like etched and burnt into the back of your brain,
Yeah,
like an epic crazy shit?
100%. The
Yeah. Come on.
Well, you go first, Ben. We're interviewing you. I'll tell mine after.
Oh man, so I got a couple. One is actually a series of workouts. So we did as a fundraising thing at Gym Cartel in 2016 or 17. We did 10 hero workouts back to back to back to back. It started with Jerry and finished with Holyman, and I can't
In a
remember the
group or
rest
by
of them.
yourself?
In a group. There was like 2 heats. So it was
Yeah,
like you started, one group started at 6 a.m., one group started at 12, and you basically went pretty much it was like they were were timed to be half-hour workouts, so they were never like any of like the fucking huge ones.
Yeah.
But like it started with this and ended with this, and that I remember that because again, going back to Rhabdo is a couple of guys from that workout got Rhabdo, or from that series got Rhabdo, and then I was the only one, and I had to go to work that night because I was working in a restaurant at the time, and someone texted me and was like, "Man, someone's had to go to hospital because of Rhabdo," and I was like,
"Oh no!
Can you just double check your pee color for the next 24 hours?" And I was fine. And then the other one is probably some of those 40-minute EMOMs that we've done. Probably that first real 40-minute EMOM that we did for a while there, when it was like in the compete guys, where we did the Echo Bike, toes to bar, burpee box jump overs, and
Dude, that was so bad.
The toe and the row, and like we had that minute rest, but like it was the first time we'd gone to the 40 minutes in so long that it was just absolutely, and it was hot that day for that time of year.
100%.
There's been a few of them where I just go, yeah, and also there's been a few of them where I look at them now and go, never doing that again.
Yeah,
silly, so silly.
Yeah. I think one that really sticks in my brain is my first ever open. The workout it was 2016. I think it may have been. I don't think it was the last workout, because the last workout that year was that horrendous thruster bar facing burpee piece of shit. It was 0.4, so 16.4. It was 55 wall balls, 55 deadlifts, 55 cal row, and 55 handstand push-ups. And I got to the handstand push-ups.
Yeah, so they repeated that 2 years later.
Yeah.
I had never, ever done a handstand push-up before, or tried to do a handstand push-up before. And I was at CrossFit Brisbane. So I had a mate who trained at CrossFit Brisbane, and I was doing the open at just my gym where I worked, like a Globo gym where I worked. And I was filming my workouts and I was posting them on YouTube. And then he said, "Hey, just come and do one open workout with me at CrossFit Brisbane." And I had Brandon Swan judging me. So this is when Swanee was still coaching at CrossFit Brisbane. And he, so he no rep my handstand push-ups 29 times, and I ended up on the buzzer getting my first ever legit handstand push-up. And that workout will stick in my head forever. I think I spent I can't remember how long that workout was supposed to be, maybe a 12-minute AMRAP or something.
13 minutes.
Yeah.
Wasn't it 14?
Oh, whatever it was.
13 or 14. 13 or 14.
12 to 15-minute mark, and I spent at least a third of the workout failing handstand push-ups. And that will stick in my head forever.
Boys, let me tell you a little story. No, I've been around the traps. My first one that I remember is 100 rounds for time. It was 1 strict handstand push-up, 2 squat cleans, and 3 burpees. It was a Ben Bergeron actually like posted it somewhere and said like, "Dare ya?" And it ended up taking me like almost 2 hours.
Of course.
And then about a year later, I did the Iron Triathlon just before we went to Japan. So that's
1 to 20.
Started at 1.
Started at 1.
It was 1 deadlift, 2 bench press, 3 squat cleans, all the way up to 20. So 4 times more work than Linda. And then I rode 42 kilometers with Liam, although Liam only got to about 30 kilometers.
Yeah, I think I cramped out at 35 Ks, yeah.
But the one that I think stands out the most, and the one that I wouldn't suggest anyone do, is 100 rope climbs for time. Do not do that.
Oh,
look, I would have told you that before you did it.
twos.
I'm pretty sure I told you before you did it. That's a bad idea.
I don't want anyone else to do it. I'm glad that I did it because I wanted to go and put myself through that. But I'm not super happy about leaving blood all over someone else's rope at a different gym.
A workout that I've never done and that I definitely will never do, that sticks in my head that I've seen someone else do is, remember when Seb did 10 back-to-back Karens?
That dude has a mental disorder.
No. In one workout, he did 1,500 wall ball shots for time. It took him forever. I think there's a video on YouTube of him doing it, but Dude.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I
pull it
remember.
up.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember like hearing that story of Dre from CrossFit Mayhem doing 1,000 GHDs.
Oh, that's silly.
And
That's silly.
yeah, no. So someone challenged him to do it, and like Rich was just like, it was a fucking dumb idea. I don't know why you ever did it.
Yeah.
Apparently, the guy he got up to 500 and was like, oh, it's a little bit stiff. So he went and grabbed his belt, chucked his belt on, and just kept going. Yes.
That's horrendous.
So he just got the belt to stabilize his midline and just was
so
like, let's go again.
No good.
But like, I mean, like that's kind of one thing. I'll come back to like the whole thing with CrossFit is like, again, coming back to like something Greg said, you know, like those simple workouts. And there was that period in like 2015 to 2018 where we all just were like, more is better.
Yeah, doing dumb shit.
So we talked about this in the past. Hey, when you see someone new to CrossFit or like a trainer new to CrossFit, maybe they're at like Fitness First or something, and they post what their clients did, and it's like fucking 6 rounds for time, 100 of this, 100 of that, 100 of this, 100 of that, and there's like 30 exercises, and they've got to go through it, and it's just like, you are not doing CrossFit, bro.
Yeah. I agree. I remember when I was at Fitness First and I had a PT session with someone, and it was my first ever session with them, and I had started CrossFit the week before at Ducks, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to make this lady do some, because she was super fit, I was going to make her do some crazy workout, and it was 21, 18, 15, 12, 9, 6, 3, thrusters, bar facing burpees, and assault bike calories.
Why do that? That poor lady.
Yeah, I think it took her 40 minutes to finish. And
this is CrossFit.
Yeah, this is CrossFit. And I was so stoked. I was like, CrossFit's the best. But yeah, just definitely something we all did when we first started as like PTs, especially. It's like you just like get so caught up in this awesomeness that is CrossFit, and you don't have enough experience to know what's good and what's not good.
When I was at Fitness First, for 8 or 9 years before I even knew what CrossFit was. And I started doing CrossFit at Rocks. Like I bought like a 10-session pass or something, and I worked at a gym, so I'm like, I'll follow the program, and I'll come in like twice a week. And I started doing like snatches and cleans in Fitness First. Obviously, I wouldn't drop it. I just like, control it down to the ground and hang power snatches, hang power cleans. And there was a couple of trainers, one in particular who was like, yeah, CrossFit's fucking shit. CrossFit's dangerous, blah, 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 blah. Olympic lifting shouldn't be done for blah, 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 blah. But you know, when you're in like that Fitness First environment, when there's like 10, 15 or 20 trainers, and you're just like watching each other and like, oh, a new exercise. And then all of a sudden all your clients have this new exercise. And I was doing snatches. A couple of weeks after this motherfucker was like, oh, CrossFit's dangerous, blah, blah, blah. And then he ended up, I saw him. He was like with a 45 or so year old woman with a 20 kilo barbell. He would have seen me doing some snatches. He had her hands in close, like she was about to do a clean. And then he's like, I could hear him. He's like, so then you go from this to this. He was trying to demonstrate a snatch. And like, I was just like blown away, and I'm like, bro, that looks dangerous. And he's like, it's not CrossFit. It's not CrossFit. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. Hey,
it's
and
pretty funny.
It's like ridiculous. Anyway, I knew that was like not the right environment for me.
Well, the amount of people that I saw that used to give me shit for doing CrossFit, and I have since seen in CrossFit gyms, like 5-6 years later, but in CrossFit gyms doing CrossFit, and I'm like, okay, mate, no worries.
Well, you just have to not convince them anymore, and when you stop convincing them, they'll be like, you know what, the proof is in the pudding. Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
On the topic of CrossFit and how fucking sick it is, we were talking earlier this week, Ben, and I thought we should save it for the podcast. Is what do you think? So, of CrossFit's obviously in this space of kind of flux where the participation is not really going up, and everyone feels a little bit weird about what's going on. What do you think CrossFit is going to look like in the next 5 years, as well as what do you think the best way is for them to kind of get back to the glory days of 2016 to 18 when it was like the next big thing?
I I think a big thing is now that we kind of really, I guess, like have to sort of split a little bit of that methodology off from the sport and use that sport as a, I don't want to use it as like it is a marketing tool. It's a marketing tool, right? So like, but at the same time, like the amount of people that are now coming into CrossFit because of what they've seen at the games is like lower than ever, I reckon. Because like out of everyone that's walked into the gym in the past year, I reckon I've seen maybe one or two people go, oh, it's because I watched the games, or it's because I was at a local comp, or I was at semifinals and I was just so ready to go. And that one's Angus, right? Because he saw Brian at Turf Games, which is not even a CrossFit event.
That's pretty crazy, yeah.
I think, like, so out of everyone that's joined in the gym, one person's coming for the competition side.
Yeah, and you feel like that used to be more?
Yeah, 100%, because, like, it was all state-sponsored media, for lack of a better term. Like,
I've run a CrossFit gym for 9 years, and unless people are, like, hiding the fact that that's why they joined, I don't recall anyone sort of telling me, hey, I saw this thing on ESPN or YouTube, I'm going to do CrossFit. But they could potentially have seen it through a different avenue as well, or someone sees it and then they tell their friends that they saw it, and then they're like, oh, that's how they find out about CrossFit. But you know them stories of like, oh, people come in, they're like, I want to be the next CrossFit Games champion. Like, I've never really heard that. I've never heard anyone.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what Ben's saying. I think more he's like, the reason I started CrossFit is because I watched a video of Rich Froning that CrossFit released and put on their YouTube channel. That was like a edited video that was really fun to watch and awesome, where currently the only way you can go back and be like, oh, stumble across CrossFit is a 9-hour live stream.
Yeah.
And like,
obviously when this graph goes from like this to this, when you see people joining CrossFit in droves, it's because it went from being unknown to very well known.
Yeah.
And so now it's like everyone knows what CrossFit is now. So it's like, in my opinion, the games isn't as important because everyone knows what CrossFit is and there's one on every corner. Whereas 10 years ago, when everyone's like talking about the glory days, like 2014, it's like, oh, I watched this random thing. I just accidentally saw it on YouTube. And that's how I found out CrossFit. And like, that's where we get these massive spikes. But now I'm just like, you know what? Like, there are CrossFit billboards. There's CrossFit ads on Google. There's CrossFit ads on Facebook. Everyone knows what CrossFit is now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that opinion. It's not the wrong opinion. I think the big thing that's changed from my viewpoint is that there's less. You're right. There is CrossFit billboards and there's CrossFit ads on Google and all this other stuff. But I think the big difference for a lot of things is that it's not centralized. So while CrossFit, the company, puts out information and it puts out its seminars and it has the CrossFit, I guess, like the CrossFit methodology is very well known. There's no storylines behind it either. So like it used to be like 14 to really 20, right? So like I'm sure at some point Liam is going to mention Andrew Hiller and he's going to mention like Andrew Hiller put out this awesome video the other week and it was all about the Instagram followers of how all these people have got huge Instagram followers if they're like the old CrossFit heads, like Froning, Fraser, Tia, all those guys. And all the new ones have got nothing. And I think a lot of that's actually got to do with the fact that there's no storylines within the actual sport anymore. So we're not seeing this like
100%.
We're not seeing this like gradual increase of people following these new people because they don't need to. They can just be like, oh, bugger it, I'm just not really interested in the games anymore. But at the same time, I think the games is like a really good vehicle for marketing.
Yeah, I think.
So you said at the beginning that you think that it should be separated, like HQ and the games. Like, what do you mean by that?
I think it should be separated a bit. I don't think it should be like. Okay, how? I think that there should be... Okay, so personally, I think in 5 years, the CrossFit Games will just be like a figure, like it'll be a figurehead sort of at the end of the season. I don't think it's going to be the main competition. And I think a lot of that's because we've got to I think they should be diversifying the competitions and the around year competitions to be a little bit more, I don't want to say like giving with prize money, because prize money shouldn't be it, but it's like that's how we get more people involved. So like, I think the atmosphere at Torian Pro this year was better than, or would have been better than the atmosphere at the games, because I think that there is more emphasis put on the semi-finals than there are the games for a lot of people. And I think for the games to be this big, awesome thing, and also moving it to Texas, but that's a separate issue. I think that there's got to be a more focus around creating local individuality within the competitions, and then using HQ as like hey, these guys did this, you can do this too. You've just got to turn up to your local affiliate.
Yeah. So what you mean is
the athletes
you kind of
now
want
are
there
no
to
longer
be
as relatable.
Like, if you want to play soccer, there's a soccer league you can go play in your local city, where there's no like CrossFit league that you can play in or compete in your local. Apart from people running random competitions, there's no set up thing of like CrossFit being like, hey, this is the CrossFit season. Here is a year-round leaderboard, and you can compete at these 16 locations or whatever it is. And I'm not like, I understand what you're saying. So what, on your point before, Greg, is that you think that CrossFit's big enough now. So you think that Lionel Messi doesn't bring anyone to go play soccer at their local club anymore?
No, I was under the impression the question was CrossFit. What does CrossFit look like in 5 years? And Ben was talking about the CrossFit Games and CrossFit HQ separating. And I look at CrossFit like it's a brand. I don't look at the CrossFit Games as CrossFit. And usually the people that are frothing over the CrossFit Games are like the young and the really fit and inspiring, like ready to go there. But like, you remember that documentary that came out maybe like 7 or 8 years ago now, and they're like, what's CrossFit going to be like in 5 or 10 years time, when everyone's doing like the Iron Cross and running sub 5-minute miles? I find that we're almost hitting this ceiling of human potential. And I'm not saying people aren't getting better. They clearly are, and they're definitely getting better.
But the improvements are smaller than they used to be from year to year.
100% smaller. But we're also seeing this natural drop off of like that generation, the people that have all these millions of Instagram followers, Rich Froning and all these, even Matt Fraser, like they're on the back end now. They're not doing high intensity, or they're doing high intensity CrossFit. They're not competing at the CrossFit Games anymore. We're getting people like Haley Adams and Mal O'Brien realizing that they were thrust into it way too early. So I was thinking about what you just said, how there should be a separation between the CrossFit Games and HQ. I almost couldn't agree with you more, because I don't feel like it's the best channel sometimes to.
No, I agree. I think like I like to look at it as like Haley Adams and Mal are like really good examples of teen athletes, competed really young, thrust into it, and now they're like kind of a bit. I don't think Mal comes back in the same shape she was in 2020.
I think she'll come back. I think she'll come back when she's like 22, 23, like in her prime. Just like Annie Thorsdottir and Tia can come back after having a year off or 6 months off from their baby. Like, I reckon Mal can come back and destroy it. Like, she's a freak. But I guess CrossFit.
No, I agree.
And the CrossFit Games is like a small umbrella inside of CrossFit. Like, I'm just wondering, is the CrossFit Games even going to be a thing in 10 years' time? If there is this kind of like,
I don't think it. That's what my thing was. I don't think it's going to be the competition that people look towards to crown the fittest person that year. Or alternatively, the way they work it is, it's got to be like a 2-year build up into the CrossFit Games. It can't be happening every year,
like the Olympics or a World Cup,
and there's got to be
a yearly thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. I would
And I know
love to
that's- and I-
see
and I
something
know
that's a
that's-
little bit more realistic to like the volume that these people put themselves through, and they're well equipped to do it. But man, like I just think like 15 events over 3 days is like there's got to be a better way, surely, you know, like to express these people's fitness. Like we talked about it on a podcast a couple of months
Yeah.
ago now about like what if we did it like over a year stage where it's like it's a little bit more realistic. They can only, you know, it's only like a 2 or 3 day 2 or 3 event thing over multiple
Well,
months or years.
That's what I mean by like how cool would it be if there was a league?
Yeah,
a
Divisions.
league,
like you said,
a
like
season.
soccer, like a
Yeah, like there's a cricket season, and the season starts, and you play 30 games before the end of the season. You don't play one game once a year. I think what happens here is that if you do something like that, is there will be more opportunities for athletes to compete, number one, which in turn allows more viewership of said athletes competing, which brings more money into the sport, which means people like me when I was 19 would be like, oh, this is cool. I could become a CrossFit athlete and make money. And then I go and I talk to my dad, I talk to my mom, I talk to my sisters. They in turn go to the CrossFit gym and they join and they see the awesomeness that is the community of CrossFit. I think it is an underrated tool having a sport to convey how awesome the thing is that you are selling. Like the thing that we are selling to people isn't the sport, it is the methodology that we use to cure chronic diseases and whatever. And that is the community within our gyms. But I think, in my opinion, the best way to do that is to create a sport around that. And right now we don't have a sport around that. We have a yearly competition.
Yeah, I also
find
think that as a side note, sorry, I'll let Greg go.
I find it a little bit frustrating when you see someone like Roman Krennikov, clearly like the most fittest person you've ever seen, super strong, and something so small as to like, you know, he rolled his ankle. There could be other instances where someone got the flu or someone got, you know, the coronavirus.
Yeah, Ricky Garrard dislocated his shoulder 2 months before the games.
Yeah,
now his
so we
season
know
is
like
done.
fitness is not just a singular point, but it's like a span of like what you can do over a certain amount of time, even a lifetime. So that's why I think it would be so much better not to just see who's the fittest on Sunday afternoon after 3 crazy ass days.
And that's the other thing, is that what that would encourage is for people to be in a more healthy state all year round, because these guys are peaking so hard for the games. They're doing really unrealistic levels of training in order to be the fittest for those 3 days. But can you think about how bad that is for their bodies, health-wise?
I can't remember
in that state. If you are competing all year round, you cannot be in that state all year round. Your body will break down and die. Having a competition that goes all year will perhaps bring that peaking, like the top. They won't be as fit as they would have been at a one weekend event, but you're promoting more healthier lifestyles. Like these people might be even jumping back into classes. Like you'd be seeing people like Royce Dunn doing a class.
It comes from CrossFit deciding to change the CrossFit game structure a little bit.
Yeah.
To, you know, suit that. Because if they put the competition out there, everyone's still going to do it. They're going to be like, well, that's the competition.
100%.
They're like, you know what? Next year, it's going to be tweaked a little bit. Not like we're doing a paddleboard.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's still 16 events over 3 days, and it's still like crazy.
And I think on the
spectacle.
surface, something like that looks like you're making it more about the sport, but in the end, you are making it more about the community. And that is how you separate the two. Is it looks like you've separated the two, like you've been like, this sport is really important. Meanwhile, still providing support for the gym owners who are running your communities and stuff. Like, I don't know how much support you actually get from HQ, if you wanted any support from HQ. Greg,
personally, I'd love to see it almost go full circle from being in someone's backyard to Los Angeles to Madison to Texas to potentially like, you know what, we're doing this all wrong. Let's go back to somebody's backyard again. We'll do the best stream ever. There'll be beers there. There'll be a barbecue there. You know, we'll figure out the workouts on the day. And it's, you know, like, it was just like,
I agree.
That would just like be such a cool little nod of your hat to like the good old days when everything was a little bit more simple.
Do you think as well, like now the way it is, like I feel like this. So because there is, going back to like Mal and Haley and a couple of others, and even Justin Medeiros to an extent, if they're so young, like there's no relatability there for anyone anymore. So like a lot of these guys, like probably the most popular athletes are guys like Pat Vellner and Brant Fikowski on the dude's side, because they seem relatable, because like Pat is a chiropractor, and up until like 2019 Brent was like an accountant, so like they look like real dudes, whereas like half these guys aren't even, they're not even getting jobs, they're just coming straight out of high school and just doing CrossFit full-time. And I'm like, man,
and I think something like a league would stop that from happening, because you have somewhere else to express that fitness, where the only option is, hey, you have to train all year round to be a freak for these 3 days, versus, hey, you can train recreationally and still do pretty well in this league. Anyway, I think that's enough of that. We can talk about this for 6 hours.
This advice is coming from 3 people that have never made the games and like struggle to do it. You know, but they're my opinions and they're your opinions, and I think like they're valid as well, because we don't know the full repercussions of this, and we're just starting to see like these younger generation, you know, go through, you know, whatever they're going through, and it'll be interesting to see like in 5 years' time what it's like. And I hope the message is the same, that it's really just about, you know, curing simple chronic diseases, that, you know, get off the carbs, off the couch, and, you know, you just be inspired by these freaks of nature that maybe they, you know, encourage you to get to a gym or you know, do some squats in your backyard, or they might encourage you to show your grandma how to do an air squat
100%.
And that might save her life one day, you know?
Yeah, cool.
Absolutely.
I think that was
100%.
a good 32-minute talk about what we think CrossFit should do.
I'm a little bit fired up.
Yeah, I'm fucking so fired up.
I think we're all very passionate about CrossFit and CrossFit
100%.
Games. Like CrossFit Games is a massive piece of my you know, love to CrossFit. Like I was the same. I watched every single CrossFit Games, every single documentary. I read every journal.
Dude, I watched the behind the scenes for like 9 hours of behind the scenes footage for each CrossFit Games year. Like I miss that shit.
I still feel like there are people doing that now that are just getting into it, just like when we got into it, we were doing that as well.
The media coverage is not there for them to do that.
Yeah. It's different now. It's just like,
I think that's actually
in little TikTok streams.
Yeah, you're watching people's reels on Instagram and TikTok videos and whatever.
It's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What do we got? What do we want to talk about?
Do we want to go through next week's programming, Gregory?
Oh, okay. Do you want to do that? I thought we'd go through next week's programming and get your thoughts on how you might attack it, Ben, or you know, like just see just basically so I don't have to make a separate video.
Saving Gregory some time.
Two birds, one stone.
Yeah.
What do we got? All right, so I'll try not to share
the whole
week.
World.
So on Monday, we're going back to our back squats again. So we did 65% 2 weeks ago, and we're going to revisit 65%. I believe there was a note there as well for the compete crew to potentially bump it back up to 70%, as long as they're comfortable doing so. But we're going back to that, and then we're going to do a 14-minute EMOM of 5 dumbbell power cleans and 5 bar muscle ups on 1 minute, and 15 calories on any machine on the opposite minute. Ducks Compete are doing Echo Bike.
Cool.
Thoughts and feelings.
Love it. I
don't think we need to go through all the accessories.
No. We'll just talk about just the workout. That's fine.
Yeah.
The workout.
I know you guys did the complete version of the
I think
box
workout's
jumps
cool.
and the wall ball workout, but this, like, the class did the 10-minute EMOM, and it was a relatively easy EMOM. It wasn't like soul crushing or anything. It was like wall ball shots and box jump overs. So a couple of days later, we're upping it to 14 rounds, and I think this will actually get a little bit more spicy because there's going to be a lot less wiggle room.
Well, I think
what are
also,
your thoughts on this workout,
Greg? Well, I think just quickly back to something you just said, Greg. We just did a 10-minute EMOM, but was it Monday that we did the Echo Bike and kettlebell, and I think that
was
got
Monday.
pretty spicy as it was because it was it was Monday. It was a rough time,
right?
But also at the same time, a very good way of doing a bunch of volume in these two movements. So dumbbell power cleans have turned up, or double dumbbell movements are likely to turn up at some point in the season, and then bar muscle ups, sort of that sort of combo, very grip heavy, but also at the same time not going to cook you for the rest of the week. And then 15, 12 calories, very achievable in the minute. I think that is a very achievable goal for anyone. I mean, compete, you should be aiming to get at least 18 calories in a minute anyway on the Echo Bike, in my opinion, but that's a separate issue. 15 calories,
your
you
opinion
easily
sucks.
get that done.
I'm not doing 18.
Sucks, bro. Please.
I swear to God, the bike does not like me.
It just does not like you. That's fair. But good workout.
Yeah, and it's definitely not about the machine. The machine's just kind of like the inconvenience. Obviously, the dumbbells and the bar muscle ups. Like, let's see how the grip goes. Do you guys use a hook grip when you hold dumbbells?
No.
Or try to?
No, I feel the handles are too thick. I can't. I'm not used to handling anything that thick.
I'm gonna have to edit that out.
What do you, when you're doing these back squats, Ben? Is there something that you specifically concentrate on before you start them? Like, what is your intent when you go into a back squat? I know there's a given percentage to hit, but kind of what are you going in, telling yourself as you walk that bar back from the rack?
Nothing really. I just think for me, it's more what I truly try and focus on is like keeping that sort of upper back really tight. I have a really narrow grip with my back squat. I know I've seen both Billy and Greg sort of demonstrate a slightly wider one to create more of a shelf. I create more.
It's just for those that have a lot of musculature in the upper body,
like Greg.
Yeah, awesome, cool. But I also have like a little bit more of a traditional weightlifting grip, so it's quite a fair bit more narrow. It's almost like touching my shoulders, so I can almost create that really like push my shoulders down, keep my whole core and pretty much from my hips to my shoulders all in one line and just going up and down biomechanically. I mean, that's kind of how I squat.
So you keep it fairly simple in terms of what you're thinking of. You're just thinking about the best way for you to keep your midline tight on something as strenuous as a 20 rep back squat is to think
I mean, like
rather than just tight core, because that's something everyone always hears is tight core, but a good way to achieve that tight core is by pulling your lats down and making that really tight spot for the bar to sit, right?
Yeah, I never think about actually squeezing my core in a back squat. I think that it actually ends up pulling your rib cage in, and that actually makes you puts you more flexion in your lumbar. So you're really trying to keep that back straight. So
it's very interesting that you think about it slightly differently. It's good.
Yeah. When you said you don't think about too much, maybe you should just think about just trying to count to 20. Jokes.
That's why I have people do it for me. That's why people do it for me.
Yeah. Honestly, pair up with someone, let them count for you. On Tuesday, you go, Liam. You talk about it.
So Tuesday we have 1-to-1 with the partner. We have 6 rounds each for time. 20 toes to bar, 15 box jump overs, and 10 hang power snatches at 42.5 and 30 kilos respectively for the males and females. Looking at this, it kind of gives you enough rest, in my opinion, to try and do all of these, not just aggressively, but in big sets. So if you are able to do a big set of toes to bar and hold on to that bar, that's going to be the goal for you for this workout. If you're a medium toes to bar, like you're good at toes to bar, but you can't quite do sets of 20, your goal is to hold all 6 rounds for 10 and 10, or to do 4 sets of 5 each round. Like do something consistently from round 1 that you can do all the way through all 6 rounds. That's when I look at something that's 1-to-1 rest with the partner. It's giving you the opportunity to regather yourself in between rounds and kind of hit each round with a newfound gusto. Is that kind of how you guys find this 1-to-1 stuff as well?
Yeah. And you're going to have a lot of data in the next couple of weeks, having done so many toes to bar. The last 2 weeks in a row, you've done 100 toes to bar in workouts. So now we're creeping up to 120 reps. So attack it accordingly. But yeah, plenty of rest here, so you should be able to go pretty aggressively.
That's
yeah. What do you reckon?
It's a horrid workout.
I was toying with just power snatches, but Liam suggested we do a hang just because of the deadlifts. And
hangs are good.
Yeah, it forces you to actually attempt 10 unbroken, whereas if it was from the ground, you could just dropping singles. It from the top after 7.
Yeah, 100%. I like that 1-for-1 stuff specifically because it forces you to attempt to do bigger sets, stuff that you're slightly more less comfortable with. You can get a little bit more volume than you usually would in a just 6 rounds for time kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and it's very grippy as well, just like yesterday. So grip management is going to be really, really important right from the start. And everyone sort of uses their grips pretty well now. I'm trying to really get on top of people trying to use their grips properly. But using a hook grip is non-negotiable for tomorrow's workout.
Yeah, 100%.
We got our weightlifting Wednesday. We've continued this theme of, creeping up the weight a little bit. Now we're just trying to do a little bit of work on the barbell under fatigue rather than just our, typical strength day, which is really a little bit more CrossFit relatable. And, as we get closer to summer and closer to the open, we want to start to be able to move this weight comfortably under some fatigue. We've got some rowing, 250 meters, 10 burpees to a target, and then 2 power cleans, 1 squat clean, 1 push jerk. It's going to be 75% for every round. You're going to do that 5 times every 4 minutes.
I like something like this. What was that, Ben?
Sorry, 75% of our power clean?
No, this will be of your clean and jerk. So 75% of your clean and jerk. So that is another thing that will be changing in this back half of this block. We've been working our percentages off our power clean and power snatch, where for the back half of this block, it's going to be now working off your full clean and jerk and your full snatch. So what I like about a workout like this is it's not specifically a workout. It feels a lot like training. Like if you know the difference between, there's a difference between just going in and wadding with your friends, and there's hey, I'm putting in work to get better here, and it's just a little bit of volume on the rower and burpees, but the main meat and potatoes is still moving well on your power cleans and so on. So when we're attacking this workout, I think the best is going to be get through your row and your burpees, not in an aggressive manner, but just move through them so that you can get that slight bit of fatigue and then approach the barbell with the same intensity that you would if you were lifting on a platform and there's your whole family and your mum watching and you got to impress them, Yeah.
Yep. That being said about the WOD, I don't think there's too many WODs this week. Like Monday is definitely more training style. Tuesday would definitely be more training style. Moving on to Thursday, I've done this workout as a WOD and it is absolutely brutal. You can do it as a WOD and you can just do that 4 times with the designated rests. Or if you wanted to just do the compete stuff, it's just going to be zone 2 running 5K or so. But have you done this workout as is, like
I have it
properly, like
with
fast running?
Yeah, 100%. Like full brutal. Send the mile and then full send the 1200. I remember the first time ever doing this workout, and the 1200 took me longer than the mile because I ran the mile too fast.
That's gold.
Yeah,
it's a horrible time.
Yeah, it is
a horrible time.
When you're doing something like this, Ben, where you see the rest getting less, but the work also getting less? Is there something that you try and do specifically in terms of how you attack your rest period specifically?
I really try to focus on my breathing. So I really try to settle myself, settle my breathing, settle my heart rate. So that, because that's like the worst thing you can do is you've got 3 minutes there, which seems like a lot, but on average, I think it takes your heart rate roughly 90 seconds to come back to a level at which you can control it. So if you've like got your heart rate up to 160 or whatever it is during that 1 mile run, and then you've got 3 minutes to get it back down to sort of a roughly, I'd say probably around 100. It's not that long because it's going to spike every time that you try and move around. So my suggestion is circular breathing. So in nose, out mouth, really try to settle your breathing and then settle your heart rate down will come with it. And don't stop moving as well.
Yeah,
you know, when
otherwise
you
that lactic acid's going to build up.
used to play like, you know, sport at school, and they used to tell you to like put your hands on your head and put your chest up nice and high, like you're not wounded. But you're probably better off if you're really struggling to get that air in, is to like sort of like hunch over a little bit and actually like relax your full diaphragm,
Put
or
your
even
hands
like
on your knees.
sit down.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to be using the least amount of energy, rather than like just flexing out and like opening up your chest. You actually want to like relax your diaphragm by hunching over a little bit more.
Yeah. So good
I like
workout.
to just take a knee. Just take a knee.
Take a knee. Keep moving around as much as you can, and try to concentrate on circular breathing to get your heart rate back down between rounds.
So we do have a WOD on Friday, unless you do want to just treat it like training.
You're zooming out, Greg. What are you doing?
Double clickeruno.
It's a lot
so
of nipple in that photo.
12-minute AMRAP of 10-meter handstand walk, 12 alternating pistols. You should be able to get a lot of work in that 12 minutes if you're competent with these movements.
100%.
Or if you're up for the beginner WOD, you can do that as well. That's still going to be hard.
I think this is great because it's a great way to practice some high skill movements in a setting where a coach is watching you. So often in our bigger classes, we don't have a heap of time to do these high skill stuff because we're trying to lift and trying to do a workout. And then we have maybe 5 or 6 minutes to practice these handstand walks or pistols or whatever it is. It's really cool to have a day where it's basically dedicated to doing 12 minutes worth of work. If you're really good at them, it is work. And if you're not so good at them, it's 12 minutes worth of dedicated practice, which is invaluable in these kinds of movements.
Did you want your compete crew to do like alternating pistols, or would you want to practice that sort of 6 on one side without...
The compete crew will 100% be doing all 6 on one leg and then all 6 on the other leg. Not just because this has been a theme in competitions going in the past year or so, but just if you think about how hypertrophy, so muscle building training, works best, is when you're doing, for example, if you're doing squats, you're doing 12 reps and you're doing them on both legs at the same time. If you're doing bicep curls, you often see people doing alternating bicep curls, and that rest period that you are getting between each curl is actually detrimental to the stimulus of muscle building. So doing all 12 reps on one side and then doing all 12 reps on the other side is really beneficial in terms of your actual muscle growth overall from that set in that training that you have been doing.
So not that it's wrong to do it the other way, but that would wrong. It would just promote more work capacity.
Correct.
To,
so if
have
you've already
that little bit of rest each time, just like a dumbbell snatch, you can just keep going.
Exactly. So if you already have these movements down pretty well and you can do them pretty fast, then I would suggest doing them 6 on one side and 6 on the other. But if you're still trying to get the hang of it and you feel like doing 72 pistols in this workout is going to be a lot for you, then you just do them alternating, because number one, it's going to be easier to manage the workload. And number two, you're going to be less sore because of what I just said before. The rest in between each leg will stop the muscle breakdown as much as doing 6 on one side and then 6 on the other.
Yep.
And the deadlifts. The deadlifts are the same as what we did on Monday for the back squats. I've found the deadlifts to be slightly easier mentally than the back squats over this period that we've been practicing? What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, I think you guys said it pretty well the other day whenever that workout, whenever you were talking about it, and you were like, oh, like the numbers on the deadlift are going to probably skyrocket comparative to the back squat. And I think a lot of that's got to do with people like you feel a little bit more confident in the lifting of a deadlift rather than squatting something that's generally over your body weight, 20 reps, particularly for guys. I think that's probably a safe statement to make with this as well, as just it's going to be 65%, not super stressful but also not super easy either, and I think that it's going to be kind of cool to watch people go for it.
I like this, how it's not like just first week, shit the bed, let's go for a 20 rep max, let's do this. It's kind of like a really nice methodical way to go about it, week after week after week. It builds your confidence, it builds your stamina with the barbell, and it's building a little bit of like core control as well. And
100%.
like you'd learn each week, oh, okay, this is what I need to expect, this is how I'm going to breathe, this is how I'm going to wear my belt. And then when we do hit this 20 rep max, I'm really keen to see what you guys hit, and I'm really keen to see what everyone hits, and we're just going to be in a much safer position as well, having done it so many times before. And we're at week, this will be the fourth week of deadlifts, and no one's been complaining about like super messed up in the lower back or anything. Everyone's been pretty appropriate.
I think that's
progressive overload in full effect. It's perfect.
Yeah, I think that's also a good thing, is like there's not much of this stuff done in traditional training programs, and I think that generally, if we look at a workout like even Liam's workout that he mentioned before, where it was 55 deadlifts in an open workout, like we're very rarely doing 5 or 10 reps of an exercise over a workout, and at the end of the day, the workouts are as Greg calls them,
number one
the meat and
priority.
potatoes. So like they're like our expression of what we're doing in our programming. So I think that the fact that we're doing some volume at a probably higher percentage than what we'd normally do in a workout is a good thing.
Yeah, agreed.
Here's the workout to end the week. This workout I've done at least 8 times.
Yeah, I was going to say 10 because we do it twice every time.
Yeah. So it was never strict handstand push-ups. It was like kipping handstand push-ups when I did it. And I just fly through this so fast. But we're changing it to a strict handstand push-up because the theme of strict handstand push-ups, if you guys can agree, like throughout all the game season, open quarters, when was the last time you saw a kipping handstand push-up?
It's been years.
I'm not going to say that they're dangerous.
They did them at semi-finals, but they did 15. Yeah, and that was it. And it was after doing.
Yeah, we're not looking at facing. Yeah.
I just don't see the point in like teaching people how to bounce off their heads too much anymore.
No, I agree.
If someone still wants to learn it, I'm more than happy to give my time. But I'd love to see people be able to do, a good 5 to 10 reps strict handstand push-ups before you want to go down that avenue, because 100%. They're not showing up much anymore. And this is just so much more bang for your buck when you want to get strong. 30 strict handstand push-ups, 40 pull-ups, 50 kettlebell swings, 60 ab mat sit-ups, 70 burpees. How fast can you do it? How much can you hurt?
This is the Ducks benchmark, Ben. So we do this often, and we do it this way through, and then in a couple of weeks' time, or even next week, we'll flip the workout and do the burpees first and finish on the handstand push-ups.
No, I don't think we're doing it next week.
No, I don't mean next week. I mean just in general. This is what we have done in the in the past. Is you do this workout this way, and then you do it the opposite way around, and see which way is faster. For most people, it's faster one way, and
sucks.
Yeah, 70 burpees at the end sucks regardless, but also 30 handstand push-ups at the end also sucks.
Yeah, like no way you put this. Like, I mean, 70 burpees is just horrible. I think. Yeah. I mean, to see. I think it'd be cool to see it in a class if you put it like you had like a couple of cones so that people can count their burpees properly.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. We don't smoke.
Because like it's.
You know who I think is going to do really well at this workout?
Who?
Alistair Braddock. He is an absolute weapon at strict handstand push-ups
and pull-ups.
The boy can hurt.
Yeah, definitely.
Boy can hurt.
Love this workout. Something I love retesting every year because I have all the data from all the other times I've done it. So pretty amazing week of training ahead for all of us.
Yeah, keen.
Excellent. And I think that's enough. Hey, like that's an hour and 40 minutes of me looking at your ugly mugs.
Hey, Ben, you have only 35% of your shit uploaded. So you just have to keep your thing open and let your piss poor Milton internet work. I always thought the closer to the city you get, the better the internet is, and the further away is the worse.
It's called being in an apartment. Yeah.
Mine is the best.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, just keep it open just in case for a couple of minutes,
it'll let you know when it's done uploading, Ben. There'll be a little thing there. Awesome.
I'll see you boys tomorrow morning.
Correct.
Awesome.
5 a.m.
Sounds good. All right.
Peace.
Peace, boys.
Be there. See ya.